I became really quite excited when I turned on the radio recently to catch the first episode of music journalist David Hepworth's new series of Radio 3 essays on the lost world of the LP. The LP, as most of us will remember being the age that we are, was, or rather is, the long playing record. A 12-inch diameter plastic disc with usually about 20 minutes of music on each of its sides. It was a format of music that I quickly grew into, having begun with the single, 2 quickly consumed songs, one each side of a 7-inch disc. In my youthful certainty about all things, I quickly came to consider the LP as the only way to enjoy music because it seemed to me that it represented the artist's arrangement of their songs to form a coherent whole. The 8 or 10 song LP was so much more than 8 or 10 individual songs because so often those songs informed each other. They told the story of the artist's frame of mind, their particular journey at the time that the song was written or recorded, or in the case of concept albums like Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, they told a literal story. And to pluck just one song out of that collection somehow diminished the meaning of the song, and to me made about as much sense as plucking a scripture verse out of context. Which won't surprise you to learn is what I really wanted to talk to you about today. It seems to me that as long as we've had the Bible in the vernacular, then the community of faith has been far too fond of plucking a single verse out of its intended context to justify their own position or even to exercise power over one another. During the apartheid era, the white South African state often uses selected verses from the Bible to justify the system that gave them power over the black majority, claiming as they did that the story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis proved that people of different races should be separated, and that Paul in Romans 13 taught that the government has the right to create laws and all citizens must obey them. And sadly, parts of the church supported this. Another example is from Paul's letter to the Colossians, which we're busy studying in the Tuesday evening Zoom Bible study at the moment. The verse that speaks about wives obeying their husbands is incomplete and wrongly understood unless it's accompanied by the subsequent verse instructing husbands to love their wives and never to treat them harshly. And we have to remember as we read these words that they were written to a culture where women were regarded as property. So these two parts of verse together are really a liberating command. It seems to me that out of context and in the wrong hands, random verses or stories have the power to corrupt, to enslave or subjugate, which in relation to a gospel of liberation and love, or even the Old Testament law, which was meant to be a delight to the people, must be wrong. Understood in the context, however, each chapter and verse informs all the others and adds to the story of a people trying to understand their relationship with God and one another and how to make their way in the world as his people, bringing light and love and liberation. So that's my encouragement for you today. The next time you come across a verse of scripture, or someone quotes one to you, which doesn't seem to speak of a God of love who wants us all to live a life of fullness, go back to the Bible, read the verses around it, and ask yourself what it really might mean for the author of the text, and for us today. As for me, I'm going to take 40 minutes off now and listen to both sides of this LP, and for a while enter into the world and the mind of Tom Waits. God bless you all, and keep safe.